Ruby is the sole hearing individual in her deaf family. When the family's fishing venture is at risk, Ruby feels conflicted between chasing her dream at Berklee College of Music and her anxiety about leaving her parents behind. Get ready to relive the adventure as we recap the story of drama and music film today. Coda, production year 2021. Ruby Rossi is the sole hearing member of her deaf family in high school, which includes her father Frank, mother Jackie, and older brother Leo. She assists her father and brother on their fishing boat and sings while working. She interprets for her whole family and for their business to the hearing individuals at the docks. And if they don't receive as much money as expected, Leo proposes selling their fish directly. At the same time, Ruby attends school with her close friend Gertie, and some classmates tease her for smelling like fish and having a family that is deaf. Ruby develops feelings for Miles and decides to join the choir after seeing him do the same. Following school, Ruby's parents embarrass her by picking her up in their truck playing loud music. Accompanying her parents to a doctor's appointment, she feels extreme embarrassment when she has to translate that they have contracted jock itch, a common issue among fishermen due to wearing damp clothes. The doctor instructs them to refrain from having sex for 2 weeks, to which they insist is not feasible. While the family eats dinner, Leo is using Tinder. At the start of choir class, Mr. Villalobos requests each student to sing briefly in order to identify their vocal range. However, when it is Ruby's turn, she gets extremely anxious and overwhelmed, leading her to exit the room abruptly. Returning home after singing by herself at the water, she finds her parents in a heated argument about money, with credit cards being declined and bills piling up. Frank suggests that perhaps they will sell their boat. At the docks, fishermen are informed they must pay $800 a day for federal observers to ensure compliance with regulations, causing frustration as they claim they cannot afford it. Upon returning to school, Ruby revisits Mr. Villalobos and recounts how she was subjected to ridicule for her speech, resembling that of a deaf individual when she was younger, causing her to feel anxious at times. Afterward, Mr. Villalobos finally listens to Ruby sing and is greatly impressed by her voice. In the end, he decides to have her perform a duet at the autumn concert and partners her up with Miles. He tells them to train as a group. At the docks, Ruby discovers Leo selling the fish below their value and angrily confronts him. She encounters her father smoking marijuana outside. During school, Mr. Villalobos evaluates Ruby and Miles' duet and discovers they are completely off key because they rehearsed individually instead of together. He instructs them to repair it and then inquires about Ruby's post-graduation intentions. Ruby claims that she will not pursue higher education due to her family's financial limitations. An individual who graduated from Berklee College of Music mentioned upcoming auditions and scholarship opportunities. He inquires about her emotions while singing, and she replies through signing. He suggests coaching her for the audition, but warns her not to waste his time. She agrees. When Ruby informs her mother, Jackie appears unenthusiastic, causing Ruby to feel upset. Jackie ponders whether Ruby would pursue painting if Jackie were blind. However, Leo suggests starting a sales co-op, but Frank dismisses the idea, claiming the other fishermen do not take him seriously. Leo, filled with anger, accompanies the fishermen to the nearby bar, yet struggles to effectively communicate with them. After getting splashed with a drink, he engages in a brawl at the bar. Gertie, an employee there, later communicates with him through text, leading to them kissing in a private area. Miles comes to Ruby's place to practice the duet together. Feeling a bit awkward and unsure where to direct their gaze, the pair sings facing away from each other. The process starts but gets interrupted by Frank and Jackie making noise as they engage in sexual activity. Ruby halts them, feeling embarrassed, and experiences more humiliation as they sit her and Miles down for a sex education discussion that Ruby is obligated to interpret. During school, Ruby gets teased by other kids about her parents, and she angrily approaches Miles for spreading rumors. Miles claims he only informed one individual, yet Ruby angrily walks away. During rehearsals, Ruby focuses on practicing her performance of Joni Mitchell's song, Both Sides Now. Mr. Villalobos motivates her to express her emotions through anger and singing. A counsel speaks to the fishermen regarding the observers. Ruby ends up translating as Frank stands up to speak. He tells the council to perform oral sex on him and chooses to follow Leo's plan. He announces they will create their own cooperative and instructs everyone to bring their catch to him for selling at double the price. Jackie is filled with horror at home. Leo believes they can join the fishing community now, but Jackie argues they will never truly be part of it because they cannot communicate with the others. Frank indicates Ruby as their means of communication. Ruby starts to dedicate all her time to the new business, handling all the translations and balancing her hectic practice schedule. Jackie attempts to engage with the other wives, but experiences exclusion. Mr. Villalobos becomes upset with Ruby for her tardiness and lack of seriousness towards the work. He cautions her that if she is tardy again, he will stop teaching her. Miles locates Ruby and apologizes to her, admitting he respected her tight-knit family, unlike his own dysfunctional one. At the workplace, Frank and Jackie are interviewed by a news crew. Ruby has practice to attend, but Jackie prohibits her from going. She blames Ruby for hoping they would not succeed. Although guilty, Ruby remains to interpret during the interview before quickly heading to Mr. Villalobos' residence, where he ignores her at the door, frustrated with her lack of dedication. During school, she tries to apologize to him, but he declines to forgive her, stating he doesn't need a lecture on failure. At home, Ruby shares her passion for singing with her family and argues with them about being their interpreter, expressing how tired she feels. Further on, Jackie and Frank have a disagreement regarding Ruby attending college, as Jackie opposes the idea due to concerns about her potential lack of talent in singing. She expresses a desire for her baby not to leave, and Frank states that she never experienced being a baby. Ruby is mad at her family, so she skips work, and the overseer arrives to check on Frank's boat. As Ruby and Miles swim and kiss, the observer notices no one is working the boat's hearing system, prompting them to call the Coast Guard. Frank and Leo are oblivious to the sirens. Frank's license is revoked, and he faces hefty fines that he cannot afford to repay without returning to the water. The sole option available is to employ a deckhand with good hearing, but according to Jackie, they do not have the funds to do so. Frank describes Ruby as the deckhand who can hear well. Ruby gets extremely emotional and wonders how they can possibly blame her. Ruby decides to forego college and stay to work on the boat when Frank mentions selling the business, claiming she is eager for the opportunity. Leo becomes upset and swiftly leaves. Jackie purchases a lovely dress for Ruby's concert and informs her that Leo simply feels excluded. Ruby claims that she is the one who is not included in the group. She inquires Jackie if she ever desires she was deaf, and Jackie responds that upon learning she could hear, she feared not being able to communicate with her, yet she cherishes her just as she is. Ruby visits Leo, who tells her she has a talent for singing and should pursue it. He mentions he's been unable to make any progress with the business and is frustrated with being coddled and excluded from activities. Ruby states that the reason is solely due to the fact that it entails communicating with individuals who can hear, while Leo asserts that he is unconcerned and believes that hearing individuals should be the ones to adapt and learn how to communicate with deaf individuals. During the concert, Ruby's family is unable to hear her performance, but Gertie reassures them that she is doing well. Later, Mr. Villalobos presents himself, trying to sign "Nice to meet you," but mistakenly signing "Fuck you." He informs them that not allowing Ruby to go to school is a big error, but Ruby doesn't understand. Following the concert, Frank inquires about the subject of Ruby's song and requests her to perform it for him. The following day, the entire family accompanies Ruby to her Berklee audition. The family is informed that they cannot accompany Ruby into the audition room. Inside, Ruby meets Miles, who reveals that he did not perform well in his audition. The audition starts, and Ruby discovers she forgot her sheet music. When Mr. Villalobos enters and suggests going with her, she is uncertain about how to proceed. She begins a bit unpolished, and Mr. Villalobos intentionally disrupts the piano to give her a fresh start. Ruby signs the words "to both sides now" as her family enters the top row of the theater. Frank is training a new deckhand with hearing loss, and the business starts to thrive. Jackie also forms connections with the other spouses. Miles acquires knowledge of sign language. Ruby leaves her family behind as Gertie drives her to Berklee. She halts and quickly goes back to embrace her family in a group hug. She waves farewell as the car departs. And showing this story ends here. Appreciate a subscribe, and please remember to like. Thanks for watching.